Interpreter matters, right? Okay. And are we on the record?
Yes.
All right, be seated. All right, this is the 11 a.m. initial appearance calendar. Did our FOJ get the paperwork?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to call you in individually. You'll state your name and date of birth. I will tell you what you've been booked on and whether an attorney has been appointed to represent you. I'm also going to give you the date of your next court appearance. I will let you know whether you're eligible for a bond or not. If it's a secured bond, that means you can go through a bonding company. The phone numbers for the various bonding companies are located in that jail area. You can call any one of them. They will accept collect calls. Now, if it's a cash bond, that means you have to pay the entire amount of the bond before you're released. I'm also going to tell you if I've set any release conditions, like no contact with the alleged victim or no going back to the alleged scene of the crime. You need to follow each and every condition if you want to remain released. Let me remind you, if you've been ordered by a court not to have contact with the victim and then you do so, you may be charged with an additional felony. Now, when you come in the courtroom, please know that this is all being video recorded, so do not talk about the facts of your case, as you have the right to remain silent. As you leave the courtroom, court staff is going to hand you your paperwork. When you look at it, it's going to show you your charges, then whether or not you were appointed an attorney, and then your court date is going to be there, where, when, what time your next court date is. Then it'll tell you whether you're eligible for a bond or not. And then lastly, it'll have a list of all your release conditions. The purpose of this hearing is to determine whether you're eligible for a bond or not. That decision is based on your past criminal history, any failures to appear, Arizona law, and your current charges. It's not based on personal information, so don't go into that. And finally, for the record, the orders for fingerprinting and the taking of DNA samples that were given on the first calendar of March 2025 shall apply to all matters on this calendar. All right, can we have Clarence Barr come on into the courtroom, and then Amelia Fritz to that chair outside the courtroom. Behind the podium. All right, sir, state your name and date of birth.
Clarence Barr, 7/25/70.
All right, you have two matters. The first one is a failure to appear warrant. This alleges one kind of possession of narcotic drug, class 4 felony. You already have a court-appointed lawyer. Your next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. Set a $900 bond on this. Now, the next matter that you have is a Superior Court new case. This alleges one kind of possession of dangerous drugs, class 4 felony, one kind of possession of drug paraphernalia, class 6 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing is going to be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. I'm also setting an evidentiary hearing on March 14th at 1:30. Now, pursuant to Arizona Criminal Rule of Procedure 4.2A7A, if you're out on release on a felony and then you commit, allegedly, another felony, you are non-bondable. You can't bond out. But the rule provides that you get to challenge that with your attorney. And that's why I've set that evidentiary hearing, so you can challenge that. And that's going to be on March 14th at 1:30. Okay? All right, get your paperwork from the court staff.
But until then, I'm going to sit in jail, right?
Yeah. Amelia Fritz, come on in, and then Mark Webb to the chair outside the courtroom. All right, state your name and date of birth.
Amelia Eunice Fritz, March 15, 1985.
All right, you have three matters. We're going to go through them. The first one is a Superior Court new case alleging one kind of possession of narcotic drug, one kind of possession of dangerous drugs. Those are both class 4 felonies. And then one kind of criminal trespass in the first degree of a residential structure, class 5 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. And I've set a $1,500 bond on this. Now, the next two matters that you have, they're both probation violations. You are on probation for 2 class 4 felonies. Probation is now alleging you violated your probation because you got new charges. That's called a term 1 violation, that you got new charges. Now, I've appointed a lawyer on both of those to represent you. Your next hearing will be an arraignment, possible disposition, and pursuant to Arizona Criminal Rule of Procedure 7.2C, you'll be held non-bailable. Okay? All right, get your paperwork from the court staff. Mark Webb, come on in. Edward Taichia to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Hi, my name is Mark Webb, 3/20/1990.
Okay, you have two matters. We'll take them one at a time. The first one is a Superior Court new case alleging one count of armed robbery, Class 2 felony, one count of robbery, Class 4 felony, one count of possession of drug paraphernalia, Class 6 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. I've set a $150,000 bond. Then secondly, you've got a probation violation. You're on probation for a Class 6 felony. Probation is alleging you violated term 3 and 5. You also have new charges. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be an arraignment, possible disposition, March 13th at 8:30. And pursuant to Arizona Criminal Rule of Procedure 7.2C, you'll be held non-bailable. Get your paperwork from the court staff. Edward, come on in. James Wilfong to the chair outside the courtroom.
Edward?
All right, sir, state your name and date of birth.
Edward K. August 27, 1958.
Okay, you have two cases. They're both probation violation warrants. You're on probation for 2 Class 4 felonies. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Now, probation is alleging that you violated your probation by violating terms 5, 14, and 15. Your next court date will be an arraignment, possible disposition, March 13th at 8:30. Pursuant to Arizona Criminal Rule of Procedure 7.2C, you'll be held non-bailable on both of these.
All right.
Get your paperwork from the court staff, sir. James Wilfong, come on in. Devin Arison to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
James Wilfong, 12/14/81.
All right. You have a Superior Court new case alleging one kind of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon or dangerous instrument, one kind of possession of a weapon by a prohibited person, one kind of possession or use of a weapon in a drug offense, and one kind of possession of dangerous drugs, all Class 4 felonies. One kind of disorderly conduct with a weapon, Class 6 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. I've set a $250,000 bond. You cannot go back to the alleged scene of the crime. No contact with the alleged victim.
Okay.
Get your paperwork from the court staff. Devin, come on in. Braden Hooping Gardner to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Devin Cord Aronson, February 14th, 1971.
You're here on a Superior Court new case alleging 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon or a dangerous instrument, Class 3 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. Set a $75,000 bond. No returning to the alleged scene of the crime. No possessing of any weapons. No contact with the alleged victims. Get your paperwork from the court staff. Braden, come on in. Over here, sir. And then Kashan Parker to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Braden Hoopengarner, 10/26/90.
You have a Superior Court new case alleging 1 count of aggravated assault, impeding breathing, Class 4 felony. 1 count of an assault, Class 1 misdemeanor. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference March 13th at 8:30. I've set a $75,000 bond. Absolutely no contact with the alleged victim. No email, no texting, no social media, no calling somebody else to call that person. No contact. Understood?
Understood.
Get your paperwork from the court staff. Kaishan Parker, come on in. Anthony Rossi to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Kaishan Parker, 12/31/2000.
All right, you've got a grand jury warrant, which means the grand jurors met. They heard testimony. They found probable cause on 21 counts of organized retail theft. They're all Class 4 felonies. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be an arraignment, March 14th at 8:30. I've set a $75,000 bond. No contact with any of your co-defendants and no going to any of the alleged scenes of crimes. Got it?
Is the bond like a secured bond or a cash bond?
Secured.
Okay.
Get your paperwork from the court staff. Anthony Rossi, come on in. Amarian Simpson to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Anthony Angelo Rossi, 12/3/80.
You've got a Superior Court new case alleging 1 kind of aggravated assault on a first responder, Class 2 felony. 1 kind of obstruction, refusing to give a true name, Class 2 misdemeanor. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. I've set a $50,000 bond. Absolutely no returning to the alleged scene of the crime. No contact with any of the alleged victims. Got it?
Yeah. Can I get OR'd?
Nope.
So today's the what date?
Pardon?
Today's what date?
Today is the 7th.
All right. So
Your next court hearing is on the 13th.
All right. So what's that court hearing?
What's it called, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, you'll meet with your attorney, and you'll get to discuss the charges, and it's called a status conference.
Okay.
All right? Get your paperwork. Mr. Simpson, come on in. Antonio Moreno to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Marion Simpson, 10/14/06.
You've got a Superior Court new case alleging 1 kind of aggravated assault, Class 3 felony, and 1 kind of threats, Class 3 misdemeanor. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30, and I've set a $25,000 bond. No returning to the alleged scene of the crime. No contact with any of the victims. Now, if you look at the bottom of your release conditions, if you bond out, it's going to allow you to go to the residence 1 time. It's called a civil standby. You call the police in that area where you live. They'll meet you there. They'll allow you to get your personal belongings, okay?
All right.
Get your paperwork from the court staff. Antonio, come on in. Henry Juarez to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Antonio Cáceres Moreno, 12/5/1975.
All right, you have a grand jury warrant, which means the grand jurors met, they heard testimony, they found probable cause on 1 count of possession of a weapon by a prohibited person, Class 4 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be an arraignment, March 14th at 8:30. Set a $10,000 bond. No possessing of any weapons. Understood? Get your paperwork from the court staff. Henry, come on in. Selena Rodriguez to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Henry Waters, 5590.
You've got a grand jury warrant, which means the grand jurors met. They heard testimony. They found one probable cause on one count of possession of a weapon by a prohibited person, class 4 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be an arraignment, March 14th at 8:30. Grand jury judge set your bond at $5,000. It's not cash. If you post that bond, no possessing of any weapons. Get your paperwork from the court staff. Selena, come on in.
So I have to post, what is it, like a $500 bond?
It's usually 10%.
Okay. All right.
Selena, come on in. Barry Betzold to the chair outside the courtroom. Sign which one?
The one you're on right now.
All right. State your name and date of birth.
Selena Rodriguez, April 29, 1987.
All right. You've got two matters. The first one is a municipal court warrant from Goodyear. This is a failure to pay a fine. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. That's a misdemeanor. Your next hearing is going to be an arraignment March 12th at 8:30. They had asked for a bond of $1,517. I reduced it to $50. Now, your next case is a Superior Court new case, alleging one count of unlawful means of transportation, class 4 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing on this one will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30, set at $2,500 bond. Absolutely no contact with the alleged victim. Got it? Get your paperwork from the court staff. Barry Betzold, come on in. Over here. Bernardo Rodriguez to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Barry Betzold, 42254.
You've got a Superior Court new case alleging one count of criminal trespass in the first degree of a residential structure, class 5 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. I've set a $1,500 bond. Absolutely no returning to the alleged scene of the crime. Got it?
Now I'm going to have to get possessions out of the house. This is over a house. Should I get my possessions out with a police officer next to me?
Okay, what are you asking me?
Actually, we remove our property from the house.
No, I'm not going to allow this because that's the crux of this case, that you're claiming it's your house and the owners are saying it's not. So I'm not going to allow you to go back there because I don't know whose property belongs to who. That will have to be litigated with your attorney. They'll have to decide that.
Okay.
All right? Get your paperwork.
Okay, thank you.
Bernardo Rodriguez. Come on in. Jesus Carrillo to the chair outside the courtroom.
Go ahead.
Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Bernard, 0 G's,
Date of birth.
10/16/87.
You've got a failure to appear warrant for charges alleging one count of possession of dangerous drugs, class 4 felony, one count of possession of drug paraphernalia, class 6 felony. You already have a court-appointed lawyer. Your next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. Set a $1,000 cash bond. Get your paperwork from the court staff. Jesus, come on in. And Bianca Rivera to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Jesus Enrique Carrillo, 592.
Okay, you have two matters. The first one is a Superior Court new case alleging one count of criminal trespass in the first degree of a residential structure, Class 6 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference March 13th at 8:30. Set a $900 bond. Now, the second matter that you have is a probation violation. You're on probation for a Class 4 felony. Probation is alleging you violated terms 3 and 5. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be an arraignment, possible disposition, March 13th at 8:30, and I've set a $900 bond. If you post these two bonds, you must contact your probation officer within 72 hours. Get your paperwork from the court staff. Bianca Rivera, come on in. Yolanda Salazar to the chair outside the courtroom. State your name and date of birth.
Bianca Desiree Rivera, February 10th, 1992.
All right, you've got a Superior Court new case alleging one kind of criminal trespass of a residential structure, Class 6 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference March 13th at 8:30. I've set a $900 bond. Then you've got two other matters, and they're both probation violations. You're on probation for two Class 6 felonies. Probation is now alleging you violated your probation by getting the new charges. That's called a Term 1 violation. I've appointed a lawyer on both of these to represent you. Your next hearing will be an arraignment, possible disposition, March 13th at 8:30. I've set a $900 bond on each of these. Now, if you post these three bonds, you must contact your probation officer within 72 hours. Get your paperwork from the court staff. Yolanda Salazar, come on in. Jeremy Campbell to the chair outside the courtroom. State your name and date of birth.
Yolanda Salazar, 9/20/74.
You've got a failure to appear warrant for charges involving one kind of possession of dangerous drugs, Class 4 felony, one kind of shoplifting, Class 1 misdemeanor. You already have a court-appointed lawyer. Your next hearing will be a status conference March 13th at 8:30. Set a $900 bond. Get your paperwork.
I thought it was $250. I don't know which one.
Yeah, I changed it to $900 because you've got a high score on your pretrial services.
What does that mean?
It sounds like you also have a hold from Glendale.
Yeah, my brother is taking care of that. How can I pay them? Oh, God. Because I've been sober like 3 years. So I did do all that. I'm sober. I've been home. I just don't. Why does it have to be $900? They told me $250.
Yeah, it's $900.
But how is it a failure to appear?
Because you didn't go to court.
I did. I had to do the diversion classes.
And then when you didn't complete diversion,
I didn't know I had another court date. That's why.
Yeah.
So then, is it the bond? How do I do that?
Talk to court staff. They'll tell you. Jeremy Campbell, come on in. Andrew Ricketts to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Jeremy Campbell, January 13, 1975.
All right, you have two matters. The first one is a Peoria Municipal Court new case alleging one kind of criminal damage, one kind of harassment by communication, both Class 1 misdemeanors. Based on your financial affidavit, I could not find that you're indigent. So you can do one of two things. You can hire your own attorney, or you can give more information to the next judge that you see to see if you qualify for a court-appointed lawyer. Your next hearing will be an arraignment March 11th at 9 a.m. I've set a $900 cash bond. The second matter that you have is a probation violation. You're on probation for a Class 4 felony. Probation is alleging you've now violated your probation by getting the new charges. That's called a Term 1. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be an arraignment, possible disposition, March 13th at 8:30. Set a $900 bond on this. Now, absolutely no contacting the alleged victim. No email, no texting, no calling somebody else to text them. If you do, you can be charged with another felony. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You absolutely have to contact your probation officer within 72 hours if you bond out.
Okay. So I have two separate bonds, 900 each?
Yep.
And I could use the bonding company for both of them?
Nope, not the first one. That's $900 cash.
Okay, and so if I have the cash myself, how can I do that?
Talk to court staff.
Okay.
Absolutely no contacting the alleged victim. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
No email, no texting, no driving by,
Yes.
no contact.
Yes, ma'am.
Get your paperwork. Andrew Ricketts, come on in. Cornelio Zuniga to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Andrew Jacob Ricketts, June 23rd, 2002.
All right, you've got a town of Wickenburg warrant for one kind of criminal damage, Class 1 misdemeanor, and then you didn't show up for court 2 times, failure to appear. Those are both Class 1 misdemeanors. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing is going to be an arraignment March 12th at 9 a.m., and now you have a bond of $500.
What's today's date, man?
Pardon?
What's today's date?
The 7th.
Okay, thank you.
Get your paperwork.
Am I out on OR to go to court?
No, because you didn't go to court. You're not going to be OR'd again.
I was just arrested after maxed out warrants. Those are maxed out warrants.
Well, you've got a $500 bond, sir.
Bullshit, Your Honor. See what happened for
Have a good day, sir. Mr. Zuniga, come on in.
Quiet. Come on in.
Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Cornelio Mateo Jose Zuniga, 52484.
All right, you have 2 matters. They're both probation violations. You're on probation for a Class 5 and a Class 4 felony. Probation is alleging you violated terms 3 and 5. I've appointed a lawyer on each of these to represent you. Your next hearing will be an arraignment, possible disposition, March 13th at 8:30, and I've set a $500 bond on each. If you post the 2 bonds, you must contact your probation officer within 72 hours. Get your paperwork from the court staff. One,
What does possible disposition mean?
what?
Possible disposition?
If you work on an agreement, then a disposition is like a sentencing. So the judge could either revoke your probation or the judge could reinstate your probation. That's what a disposition is.
That's on the 7th, on the 13th. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Herrera, come on in. Mario Miranda Alvarez to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Juan Marcos Herrera, May 9th, 1988.
All right, you have an El Centro Justice Court warrant for one kind of possession of drug paraphernalia, and then when you didn't go to court, you got another charge that's failure to appear. Those are both misdemeanors. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be an arraignment, March 12th at 8:30. They had asked for a bond of $500. I reduced it to $50.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Get your paperwork. Don't miss court.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mario, come on in. Julie Betzold to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Miranda, October 4th, 1989.
You have a Superior Court new case alleging one kind of possession of drug paraphernalia, Class 4 felony, one kind of criminal trespass in the 3rd degree, Class 3 misdemeanor. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference March 21st at 8:30. I'm going to release you on your promise to go to court. No returning to the alleged scene of the crime. No contact with your co-defendant. Did you hear all the people that failed to appear?
Yeah.
And guess what happens when you don't go to court?
Yeah.
You do a warrant and then you have a bond.
All right, then.
So you don't have a bond. You're going to get released. But if you don't go to court, you're going to have a bond.
All right, then.
Get your paperwork from the court staff.
Thank you.
Julie, come on in. Chase Potts to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Julie Betzold, 11/25/58.
You have a Superior Court new case alleging one kind of criminal trespass in the first degree, Class 5 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference March 21st at 8:30. I'm going to release you, but you cannot return to the alleged scene of the crime. Got it?
Everything we own is in that house. We've been in there for 20 years.
Can't go there. You are going to have to resolve this. You can talk to your attorney, but right now, you can't go there. Can you obey the release conditions?
Yeah.
All right, get your paperwork. Chase Potts, come on in. Robert Reed to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Chase Potts, 21190.
You have a Peoria Municipal Court warrant for one kind of criminal trespass in the third degree, Class 3 misdemeanor. You're not entitled to a court-appointed lawyer. Your next hearing will be an arraignment March 27th at 9 a.m. I'm going to release you. Do not return to the alleged scene of the crime.
Okay.
Don't miss court.
Okay.
Get your paperwork. Robert Reed, come on in. Matthew Trujillo to the chair outside the courtroom.
How are we doing now?
Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Robert Reed, 3/11/98.
You've got a municipal court new case alleging one kind of an assault, one kind of disorderly conduct, one kind of unlawful imprisonment, one kind of resisting arrest.
You said assault, Your Honor? It was only
All misdemeanors. Hang on.
Okay. I was only aware of the 3, Your Honor.
Okay. I could not find that you're indigent based on your financial affidavit. So, you either can do one of two things. You can hire your own attorney or give more information to the next judge to see if you're eligible.
Okay.
Your next hearing is going to be an arraignment, March 26th at 1 a.m.
Okay.
And I'm going to release you. But you cannot return to the alleged scene of the crime. No contact with the alleged victim. I am going to allow you to go to the residence one time while you're accompanied by law enforcement. So when you get your paperwork, you'll see the list of your release conditions. At the very bottom, it's going to allow you to have a civil standby. So what you have to do is after you get released today, if you want to go get your personal belongings, you call law enforcement in the area that you're in.
Okay.
They will come meet you, and you can go get your personal belongings.
It's, if I may, Your Honor, it's not a matter of personal belongings. It's my wife, and I'm the sole provider for my family. So how am I supposed to contact my wife or make sure finances are good?
Can't. Not until this is done.
Even though she's not the one pressing charges?
Pardon?
I was told she wasn't the one pressing charges. The state was pressing charges.
That's why it's called the state of Arizona versus the state brings the charges, not the victims.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't get to drop charges, especially in these situations.
Okay.
Get your paperwork from the court staff. Which one did you want to be heard on?
The last one.
Okay.
Jackson.
Matthew, come on in. Jeffrey Stripe to the chair outside the courtroom. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
December 27, 1985.
Yeah, but Justice new case alleging one kind of resisting arrest, class 1 misdemeanor. You're not entitled to a court-appointed lawyer. Your next hearing will be an arraignment March 25th at 9:30. I'm going to release you on your own promise that you're going to go to court.
Yes, ma'am.
Get your paperwork from the court staff. Jeffrey, come on in. Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Jeffrey Streif, 3/11/87.
All right. You've got a Justice Court warrant from White Tank Justice Court for failure to pay on a DUI, drugs, or metabolite. That's a misdemeanor. You're not entitled to a court-appointed lawyer because this is a failure to pay. Your next hearing is going to be an arraignment March 25th at 9:30. They had asked for a bond of $400. Going to give you a chance to go there, set up a payment plan, or you might be able to do community service. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Don't miss court.
All right. Thank you. Hey, can you see if the court staff can find out on number 46? Give me his criminal history.
No,
Got very little here. All right, can we do Judy Garcia? Come on in.
bring your paper. Up to the podium.
All right, state your name and date of birth.
Judy Garcia, 3187.
All right, Judy, did you get a laminated paper to read? Yes.
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to read that?
I read it. I don't understand it.
Okay, well, let me go through it, and then we'll see if I can help you out on it. So you have a warrant issued by the state of Texas.
Yes.
They want you back on some charges, okay? Now, you have a choice to make at this time. There's two choices you can make. You can choose to waive your right to an extradition hearing and be sent back to Texas within 30 days. That's option number one.
What is waive?
Option number two is you can demand that you get an extradition hearing. And that involves that a governor's warrant must be signed by the governor of both Texas and Arizona before they can send you back. That process can take up to 90 days.
Okay.
Now, let me explain a little bit more. Now, if you choose to say, I'm not going to fight this extradition, I'm going to waive all my rights, I'm going to go back to Texas, you would be held without bond. You'd be held here for a period of up to 30 days to allow Texas to come get you. That 30 days would start tomorrow, unless you have pending charges in Arizona. Now, I didn't see any, but if you do have any pending charges, the 30 days wouldn't start until those 30 days are completed.
Okay.
Okay? That's option number one. Now, let's say you say, nope, I don't want to waive all my rights. I want a governor's warrant. Then I'm going to set a hearing for you. And it's going to be on March 17th at 1:30. Now, I can't appoint an attorney at that hearing to represent you because extradition matters are civil in nature, but you
would have the right to hire a lawyer at your own expense if you choose.
Okay.
Now, on this one, you are also entitled to bail, and it would be your bail amount would be $20,000 cash.
Okay.
And you would, if you couldn't make that bail, you would still be held in custody during this time or until another judge might change that bail amount. But they're asking for $20,000.
Okay.
A governor's warrant, again, signed by the governors of both states requiring to extradite you, that can take up to 90 days. Do you know what you'd like to do?
Yes, I want to fight it. I want to stay in Arizona.
Okay. So I'm going to say you're not going to waive your right. I'm going to set that bail at $20,000. So you're going to have another hearing on the 17th at 1:30. Okay?
Okay.
All right. The court staff is going to bring you your paperwork.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm still working on the criminal history.
Okay. Okay. Great. Is Mr. Mans in, or is he still a house call? Travis Mans? He's the one that we didn't know who it was. He was the John Doe.
Oh, no, he's in isolation.
He's still a house call? Okay. How about Dylan Peterson? Why is he a house call?
He's a safe stuff. Your Honor.
He's gonna say something.
I know, but I have to know why he's in the...
Oh, so sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
We just got them there. All right. Dylan Peterson, he's got a Superior Court new case alleging one kind of aggravated assault, DV, impeding breathing, Class 4 felony, one kind of disorderly conduct, Class 1 misdemeanor. I've appointed a lawyer to represent him. His next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. Did you want to be heard?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No. I saw you stand up. I said a $10,000 bond. Then Charles Nicholson, why is he a house call?
He's in isolation due to unable to function.
Sorry, I can't hear that.
He's in isolation due to unable to function in general population.
Okay. Charles Nicholson, date of birth is 2/23/89. He has a Superior Court new case alleging one count of criminal trespass in the first degree, Class 5 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent him. His next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. It's at a $900 bond. Do we have everybody cleared?
We just have Jackson.
I just need Franklin Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody else is
He's
cleared?
gonna take her out there. Someone here ready.
Okay, Jackson.
Come on in.
Name and date of birth, right there.
Sir, state your name and date of birth.
Franklin Jackson, date of birth 10/31/1987.
And counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Brooke Gone on behalf of the state.
All right, sir, you have a Superior Court new case alleging 10 counts of molestation of a child, 9 counts of sexual conduct with a minor, 1 count of sexual conduct with a minor with serious physical injury, Class 2 felonies, 4 counts of furnishing obscene materials to a minor, Class 4 felony, 5 counts of sexual abuse, Class 5 felony, and 1 count of sexual conduct with a minor, Class 5 felony. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next hearing will be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30. Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. The state's asking for a $350,000 cash-only bond, and if Mr. Jackson is able to post that, we'd ask for electronic monitoring as is required by statute, no contact with any minors, and no internet use. Those requests are based on the nature of the charges. He allegedly committed ongoing and continuous sexual abuse of the victim from the ages of 5 to 13. There's a strong weight of the evidence as Mr. Jackson made admissions. He allegedly also admitted to sexually abusing another child in the state of Texas. The state believes that he is a significant danger to children. Additionally, we'd move for the court to seal the Form 4 because it contains personally identifiable information regarding the victim.
Can you print this out again, too? All right. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, I have sealed the Form 4.
Thank you.
All right, sir, I do agree with the state's assessment. I did set a $350,000 cash bond. Pursuant to statute, if you were to post that bond, you would have to be placed on electronic monitoring with house arrest. You are not to have any contact with any minors. No contact with the alleged victim. No email, no texting, no trying to call. If you're in the jail, no contact at all. No contact, no, you're prohibited from using the internet and no contact with any minors. All right? Get your paperwork, they'll bring it to you. Then we have Ryan Revere. Why is he a house call? Ryan Revere, date of birth 8/20 of 89 or 99. He has a Superior Court new case alleging one kind of aggravated assault on a first responder. That's a Class 4 felony. One kind of criminal trespass. That's a Class 1 misdemeanor. I've appointed a lawyer to represent him. His next hearing is going to be a status conference, March 13th at 8:30, and I've set a $25,000 bond. You don't have, says extensive out-of-state criminal history. Let me see if I can get anything on the Form 4.
Do you want me to just have them upload what they have?
Pardon?
Do you just want me to have them upload what they have?
Yeah.
That was a pretty big one.
Have them upload what they have. These calendars are crazy. Lindsay's got 54.
And with that, we're out. So stay tuned. I'm going to cut you over to Florida. TikTok.
I received, reviewed, and considered a victim statement on number 9 on this case, Braden Hooping-Garner, from the victim. I also received, reviewed, and considered a victim impact statement from crime victim Anna Campbell, and that was number 24, Jeremy Campbell. And then to assist in the finding of probable cause, I reviewed Glendale Police Departmental report number 25009786-001, and this is on Selena Rodriguez. I'm gonna go do these house calls. You can print this one out, and then what I'll do is, as soon as I hear from Brooke, we can come back in here and put it on the record.